Right, we'll take our first interview here, and I talked to a development worker, and she'll be talking more on establishing good governance and effective citizens' participation. And all the way from Kenya, we'll talk with Madam Judy Kimamo, okay, all the way from Kenya, and we'd like to hear from her what are some of the things Kenya had done to get to where they are now, and how African leaders and African people generally can also learn from one another. I've always said here on the show that Africans have similar cultures, similar fashion style in entertainment, even in politics and all that. And the earlier we begin to synergize, the better for us, because we all will now see that we have a common ground, and we can have a beautiful continent where we all can unite together as one. You know, Africans knowing that they are one, and irrespective of whether you're from East Africa or West Africa or South Africa and all that, we're still one and the same Africans. Okay.
Okay, my name is Judy Kimamo. I come from Kenya. I was born in Nyeri, right in the slopes of the Aberdares Ranges. Aberdares is one of the water towers that serves the country with most of the water. About 60% of the energy that we use comes from the rivers that flow out of the Aberdares, and therefore I come from a mountainous, very cold region of the country, but I live in Nairobi.
Wow. So how has it been for you as a woman working? Because I know a lot of times the men seem to have it all, and then they don't know the effort women also put in to get to where they are, and the efforts they make in the community and all that. How is it for you?
It has been quite a journey in the sense that as we were growing up in primary school, we had to compete with the men, we had to compete with the boys, we had to keep our space. It was not very easy because there were threats to pregnancy, and at that time if a girl got pregnant there was no guarantee that you could go back to school. So against all odds, you had to keep yourself, protect your space the best way you knew how. Transport was public, therefore that meant for me to go to school every day, or to go to high school I had to travel long distances in public means that safety was not guaranteed. But through it all I was able to go through secondary, I was able to qualify to join university, public university, and finally I was able to come out there into the formal employment. Again, the competition again becomes very stiff. I was a young mother, and therefore the pressures of balancing family and work became
tedious,
too much for me. In fact, it took a toll on my family, because my husband wouldn't understand why I have to leave the house very early, leave a small baby, come back in the evening very late and tired. What was I doing out there? And other women are supposed to be in the house at 6 o'clock. But I would ask him, surely we're in university together with you. Actually, we sat in the same classes. I don't see why it would be different for you to come home tired, and it should be different for me to come home energetic. So it brought a lot of issues, but somehow we were able to get a common understanding. So over time, I've been able to understand the dynamics, and thankfully we have environments that allow for opportunities for mothers to take care of their children, and I'm lucky, or I'm blessed to be in such an environment where I have got some extra time to take care of my little babies.
Beautiful. Let's go on to our topic of discussion now. Starting off from where we were talking, what would you like to say basically about our topic of discussion?
So today we shall look at what has happened in Kenya. In the year 2010, we got a new constitution that was as a result of a lot of civil society struggle to break away from one party rule and from from a dictatorial kind of system. It involved people being beaten, being locked up, others disappearing. But finally, through a democratic way, we were able to get a new constitution that is very progressive. In particular, I want to look at Chapter 43 of our constitution that guarantees Kenyans to attain the highest standard of living. It guarantees them access to the best education possible, and guarantees them to shelter, guarantees food, and guarantees health. So those are the things that my organization, Search for Common Ground, is looking at in a wider sense with partners who are working on governance and leadership at county level. So with our partners, we have come together and developed concepts and projects around access to land. Access to land guarantees you access to shelter and guarantees you access to food. With land, you're able to get economic resources that can guarantee you some more income that can improve your well-being. We look at the resources that are being devolved. What Kenyans pushed for was that money is not controlled by the central government, that money is devolved and controlled by smaller governments at county level. So at county level, we are now looking at how citizens are participating. We ensured that in the first chapter of our constitution that citizens are, that the citizens are the ones who own the power, but they delegate it to their leaders through elections. So we give our leaders authority to go and handle legislation, make legislation, allocate resources, which are according to our priority development targets that we have for each year. So many of our partners have gotten into that space and are looking at how that is working out. Has the power been shared across? When you come from a dictatorial position, leaders tend to hold on to power and tend to block off everybody else. So we are looking at that space. How have citizens now turned around, changed their mind frames from the previous forms of government, which was top-down, to this one which is horizontal? We are supposed to sit together in the same table. So different projects have come up. Some partners are now using geographic information systems to look at how citizen participation forums are being conducted in the countries. Are they devolved right to the villages, or are people still being asked to come to central places like towns, like urban centers to meet, which then stops some people who come from the rural communities from participating and getting the services that they also wish. We have organizations that are conducting grassroots social audits. Every week they are meeting in different villages, looking at the budgets that were passed this year, in the current fiscal year, looking at what was promised and what is actually being achieved. But they're also going a step back and looking at, in the last fiscal year, if the projects that were promised by the government were delivered and if their quality was done. We now have consortiums of organizations that are forming networks so that we can begin to address access to services, dignity of our citizens. And the best thing that has happened is that leaders now have begun to catch this wave and they now want to participate. At first they were very worried because they thought it was something that was coming to reflect badly against them, that it was something that was meant to tear them down, but they realized it has built momentum. Citizens are no longer confrontational. It's no longer adversarial, it's no longer mud throwing and stone throwing. It's a healthy debate where citizens are asking, now that we have our resources, how prudently are they being used? So leaders have started coming up to those meetings, engaging in very healthy discussions. We also have radio programs that run in some counties that are running every other week, where citizens call in, members of parliament go to the station, and citizens are encouraged through an SMS platform to engage with their members of parliament, both at National Assembly and the members of National Assembly, of County Assembly in the county level. So we hope that this becomes the process when we change our adversarial mode of engaging with government to a more collaborative kind of partnership engagement where citizens and government can share the space to grow and build resources that benefit the citizens and ensure that citizens attain the highest quality of life.